Hello everyone. In this video, I want to talk about 3 things you should look for in your sheath. Stick around. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Thanks for stopping in. I want to thank my subscribers and welcome all the new visitors here to 411 Outdoors. I hope you find this information helpful and resourceful. Let's get rolling. When it comes to knives, a sheath can be a make or break option. It really should be a make or break option if you intend on carrying the knife at all. I've bought knives in the past that I thought I was going to love. The knife ended up being useless to me because the sheath was useless. In this particular video, I'm not going to be focusing so much on your favorite material. You might prefer leather over Kydex, vice versa. There's different types of sheath material out there. I'm not focusing on the material as much as the attributes of the material. For me, I've developed an acronym regarding the 3 things that I look for in a sheath. Now, I don't know if I invented this. Maybe I did, but the acronym is CAR. The C stands for comfort. Can I carry this knife comfortably? Can the sheath be adjusted to be carried comfortably if it may not be as comfortable in certain positions? Does the sheath have enough versatility for me to carry it comfortably? We won't carry gear too long if it's uncomfortable. I do take into account the fact that there's always going to be a little bit of discomfort in carrying things because nothing's going to be more comfortable than carrying nothing, but it needs to have a good measure of comfort. So when you buy a knife, examine the sheath and examine all the carry options. Look at the dimensions, consider your own bodily dimensions, and ask yourself, can I carry this with a good measure of comfort? There's a lot of things that can affect comfort, such as the knife digging into your side, or when you want to do a scout carry behind the back, sitting down in a car, leaning against that knife all the time. Think about all the ways you can carry that knife without having to feel it so much. I've carried certain knives on my side that allow me to kind of push it back a little bit so that it's not digging into my hip so much when I need to sit down. So these are all the things that need to be examined. The A in the acronym stands for accessibility. No matter what you're carrying the knife for, is it accessible? If it's for self-defense, it needs to be very accessible, giving you the ability to pull it very quickly and easily. If it's for work, you want to be able to get to it without a whole lot of trouble if you're doing day-to-day tasks. When it comes to carrying knives for self-defense, you want to have a lot of options. There's a lot of great knives on the market that can be used for self-defense. They have cool designs. They just have that cool look to them. But most importantly is the carry options. I do want to provide one type of example of a type of sheath that I really love, and it's the ones that Tops puts out. You got these Kydex sheaths with these rotatable clips. This is my Tops saw. I carry this blade a lot on a day-to-day basis, and I'll tell you why I do, because I can turn the clip this way and stick it right in the front for a horizontal carry, and I have a very solid tank of a blade with me every day. But these types of sheaths not only allow you an upright position like this, you can angle them to some degree, or you can just drop it right down in your pocket like this. These have a very strong clip. Most of my jeans, when I go to pull this up, this sheath doesn't come out. I can pull the knife right out. No matter which way we look at it, these sheaths are made to be comfortable and accessible. And remember this when you're shopping for a knife to carry on a day-to-day basis, whether it is self-defense or work. You're not just buying the knife, you're buying the sheath as well. You might be able to get a good deal on a sweet looking knife, but the sheath might be crap. Sometimes it's worth it to reach down in your pocket, pull out a little bit more money, and get something you will actually carry and something you can carry. And I'm not necessarily saying Tops, I'm just saying any brand that works well for you. You want to look at those carry options. Back to being accessible. When you're carrying a knife for self-defense, and if something goes down, you got to be able to pull that thing in a split second. That's why I'm a huge fan of horizontal carries. I'm also a big fan of pocket carry, and from time to time, kind of like a inside the waistband samurai carry, depending upon what I'm wearing. No matter what it is, you need to be able to pull it fast in a self-defense world. And if you're working, just make sure you can get to it without a whole lot of headache. Now, the R in the acronym could be a few things, but we'll narrow it down to retention and reliable. Let me throw a little shade at myself on something with regards to this area. I reviewed a knife about a year ago from a company called Flissa. They put out a sweet looking little D2 blade. It was a drop point knife, just a great design, but the sheath was crap, okay? And when I was reviewing the knife, the sheath had all of this rattling. You could just pull the sheath right out. You could turn the sheath upside down and the knife would fall right out. You know, and in that review, I came up with all these little hacks on how you could tighten up the retention. And going forward, I won't do that. I'll just say this sheath is crap. It has no retention whatsoever, and it didn't. You don't want your knife to be able to fall out of the sheath if you turn it upside down. You don't want it to be so easily pulled. You don't want to lose the knife, and you don't want somebody to be able to just grab the knife so easily if you're in the middle of a conflict. You want to have some good retention on that sheath, and you want that sheath to have some reliability. Some people buy knives and end up getting custom made sheaths done just because the factory sheath doesn't have good retention or reliability. I know some of you might say, well, Daniel, all you were doing was giving people options for a very awesome knife that were on a budget. And there's a great measure of truth to that, but you don't have to spend much more to get a sheath that's going to work for you. So that pretty much sums up what you should look for in a sheath. In conclusion, let's talk about the type of legwork we can do to make sure that we know what this sheath is all about. Number one, when you're on the site, just make sure that there's adequate pictures of the sheath, adequate pictures of the attachment, and really be realistic with yourself about whether or not that option looks like it's going to be good for you, whether or not it's going to fall under the car. Another thing you can do is come right out here to YouTube, just like you are right now, and just like you do with many other knife reviews, and make sure that reviewer is giving you a good look at the sheath. I know with my knife reviews, a big part of my review is for you to look at the sheath, because the sheath is oftentimes the make or break for a lot of people, and it should be. So between YouTube, all these other sites, the site itself, you should be able to get a good look at the sheath. It's not a bad practice every time you're thinking about buying a knife to go out to YouTube and see if somebody has reviewed it. Odds are they have, especially if the knife is well known, and just make sure that they put that sheath on display. I'd like to close by asking you to share your experiences with sheaths. Were there ever knives that you thought you were going to like, but you bought it and the sheath just didn't work for you? What kind of sheath do you like the best? What are your favorite carry options? I'd love to hear all of these things in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care.